So we saw a big thing this week. We actually approved the settlement for a big lawsuit. So there's been a lawsuit against the state specifically for people who are sitting in jail waiting to be restored in their mental health. So if somebody gets arrested, especially for a crime where they can't be released on bail, they have to wait to be restored in competency. So that means they get treatment, maybe they get medicated, and then they get assessed if they can stand trial. Well, in Oklahoma, people have been waiting a very long time for that to happen. So they might be waiting in a jail a year and a half, even when their sentence would be way shorter if they were proven guilty. And so finally, some people who were waiting actually did a lawsuit against the state. And so they charged that the Department of Mental Health, who's in charge of this process, wasn't doing their job. And on the other end, the state didn't really have a good defense. We don't have enough beds for people. We don't have enough people available to provide that treatment. And so we were really far behind. And so the state kind of said, we're going to lose this trial. And so they ended up working out an agreement that's going to force the state to spend money and improve our system. So get some professionals who are better trained in forensic treatment. We're adding to the systems in those counties where those jails are located. And then we're also adding beds to the forensic center in Veneta. Those things are the things asked for by those plaintiffs. And it means that the state's going to have to really do a good job on certain outcomes to show that we're doing better. We have, I think it's almost 300 people waiting right now to be restored. And that means they're not getting a speedy trial. So for me, I think this is a really good step. Having those metrics is going to help us keep ourselves accountable to do better in this area. And if we spend more and also improve our systems on the community health side, we will make sure people are not going into these systems. And that's been one of my requests all along, is how do we spend more and spend more energy to make sure those systems are good so people are getting early care. Can I just say that I had a bill go through this week that's part of that systems of care, and it's to make sure that our family doctors and nurse practitioners have training in mental health. So we call it integrated behavioral health, and that's making sure that your first primary care people have experience in mental health and are able to help you diagnose if that's an issue, know how to refer you or treat you. And this is a big deal in rural areas because we don't have access to psychiatrists and psychologists in a lot of our rural counties. But they do have access to a nurse practitioner or to a physician or a PA. And so we've got to make sure we improve our ability to respond to the mental health challenges wherever Oklahomans are.
And with any kind of health care, when you're able to intervene and take action sooner, it's actually less expensive, whether it's for the individual, whether it's for the state as a whole. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. If we can help people early figure out what's going on, we reduce that crisis. And we spend way too much on incarcerating people and on inpatient care. And if we can help people earlier and intervene and help people get the treatment they need, a lot of people will be restored and able to keep working, stay with their families. It's better for our communities if we can address it early.
Another big issue that's been in the forefront this week has been education, the State Department of Education. Can you talk about what's going on with that?
Yeah, we hear every day from our constituents and from educators and from parents about our superintendent and about concerns about the way our superintendent has weaponized going after school districts or going after individual educators, and is spending his time on things that a lot of people know is not leading to student success. So just this week there were two big things. One is his request to fund Bibles in the classrooms next year. That fund, those monies were not set aside by the Senate. So the recommendations from the Senate for the school's budget does not include that Bible expenditure. And the idea is that's something that a lot of parents, even religious leaders, have told us they don't want. One, teachers trying to teach the Bible if they may not have training in that. Number two, should there only be one religion in the schools? Many people understand that we've tried to keep a separation there. So that was really important step, that's not going to move forward. The other big thing is that the pro tem and the speaker, I think in conjunction with the governor, have introduced a bill that would let the state school board members add things to the agenda. And one of the big complaints has been that when the superintendent sets the agenda, it is not necessarily on those things that are most important to our kids. So many politicized items going on those agendas, and that school board doesn't really get to have oversight if they're not getting to drive some of that conversation. So I'm hopeful that these are some small ways that we can start to rein in some of the politicized actions by the superintendent and really return our focus to kids, which is where it should be. We know our public schools are the heart and soul of every community, and we have to make sure we're focused on those kids first.